take a journey into the process of incarnation. We're still midstream in this journey of incarnating fully into these vehicles. And hopefully we can run some experiments today that will help us to be even more exquisitely present and to understand this beautiful instrument that we're here to learn how to play, learn how to play them in symphony together. So we're going to start with breath and cohering our breath, and I'm going to take you through a breath portal practice to open this beautiful space. And so the first thing we're going to be doing is breathing in through the mouth and out through the mouth. I breathe in through my nose and my mouth. Let's try it together, breathing in through the nose and mouth, and out through the nose and mouth. In through the nose and mouth, out through the nose and mouth. Beautiful. So we're going to be doing that for the first part of our practice, and as we breathe in, we're going to get this Kundalini wave going. So inhaling up, exhaling down. And I'll show you from the side. You can really, it's not just a collapse and an open, it's a wave of the spine growth. So we're gonna practice that. We're gonna breathe like that for about 44 breaths together, starting slow and deep and dropping the breath deep into our pelvis and filling all the way up. And then we're gonna increase the pace of our breath together. And we're gonna try to stay relaxed, try to keep our shoulders relaxed and our spine relaxed as we breathe this breath together. And then I'll start to slow it down towards the end, and I'll count us down for our last 3 breaths. And we're going to hold it at the top for that last breath, just for a few counts, 2, 3, 4 seconds. And then we're going to exhale. Exhale anything. You can move the body, shake the body, sound and movement. And then we're going to exhale fully and hold the breath on the out, in the empty. We're going to just hold it in the yin. Hold it in the full empty place for not too long, 20, 30 seconds. If you need to take a breath before I take that breath, then take it and take it loud and proud so we can all do it with you. So, and then we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose, lock the mula bandha, squeeze the abdominals, and squeeze the body as though we're like squeezing the juices out the top of our head. You can imagine just a chi fountain coming out the top of your head as you hold the body. Squeeze. While we do this, just watch me, don't practice while I'm doing it. While we do that hold, we're going to cover our eyes with our fingertips and press our eyeballs to the back of our head gently. And we're going to hold it like that for about 15 seconds with the breath hold. And that's going to activate some DMT production in the pineal gland. And then as we release together, we bring the fingers together and we poke a little hole in samsara and we peel the curtains apart and open a clear and open space for us to practice within today. So let's practice the eye thing, just covering the eyes with the fingers and then taking a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring the fingers together. Poke a little hole in samsara, peel the curtains apart, and just rest for a moment in the clear and open space. And you don't have to remember any of that because I'm going to walk you through it and tell you how it goes as we do it. But it's good to have a little preview. All right? So let's just shaking it out a little bit. Good. And exhaling where we're at, collapsing the body forward. In through the mouth and nose, out through the mouth and nose. Here we go. Staying relaxed. Full breath. Trying to stay together. Sit down is welcome. Halfway there. A little faster. Surrendering in. Five more breaths. Slow it down. Two more breaths. Last breath, hold it at the top. Release the breath and hold it out. Hold the empty. Allow, soften the shoulders, lengthen the spine, hold. Big breath in. Squeeze the Mulabandha. Fingers to the eyes. Take one more sip. And hold. Squeeze the body. And pierce the veil. Resting here, making room for the involuntary, allowing. Into this clear and open space that we have in both with our breath and our intention, we first recognize and celebrate our unified, undifferentiated essence as one. We honor our Divine Mother, beautiful, compassionate, most low. We honor our Heavenly Father, clarity, truth, light, justice, most high. We honor our Amakua, our family of angels, of beings who are here in service of the simple truth of love. Thank you. We are surrounded by love and support. We honor and celebrate this support. Over our right shoulder, our Father, and all of his mothers and fathers, stretching back into the mystery of the beginning. Over our left shoulder, our mother, and all of her ancestors, stretching back into the mystery of the beginning. Thank you, ancestors, for your many gifts, and thank you for entrusting to us the sacred wounds, the karma, the ancestral trauma that you yourselves were unable to transmute in your lifetimes. We are honored to receive this blessed karma. everything that I say in this space is merely an invitation. Your body may know better. It probably knows better than I do, but you are invited into the experiments here as we learn to identify and release the passive tension that has been programmed into our system by the way that our bodies have been surrounded in a morphogenetic field, in a culture of force, in a culture of intensity. We're just moving here, allowing whatever wants to shake through our bodies, just getting connected to our spine, feeling our tailbone sort of dancing in the air for a moment, drawing circles in the air with our tailbone, and feeling the connection between the tailbone and the occiput. Starting to just make this connection, feeling the space, undulating a little bit, moving. Just listening to your body and how it wants to move you right now. Your awareness is really just this beautiful eye just floating inside a body right now. We're just going to surrender deeper and deeper into our body's innate intelligence throughout the course of our time together here. Just listening, allowing, trusting, exploring, investigating. We are in the midst of a most profound revolution. We are finally toppling the hierarchy within. And it's the hierarchy of our mind's control over our lives and our bodies. We are learning to share power between the centers of our body, our heart, our solar plexus, our sex center. So let's slowly come to our feet. Shake it out a little bit. Stand up, find verticality. Turns out we're not really here to ascend. We're here to ground the frequencies into this body, into this beautiful earth. We're here to be a portal through which the most beautiful and refined frequencies that exist in this multiverse can express themselves right here and now. So let's just come down, hands on our knees, and just circle our knees here. Really, as we do, just attending to our connection to the earth, attending to the chakras in our feet and the way that they are exchanging information and energy with the earth. Feeling the force of gravity cradling us to the Aina, Mahal Aina, Loha Aina. Look in the other direction. Together, circling, heels and toes touching, keeping the knees tracking. Beautiful. Bring the feet about shoulder width apart. Just roll ourselves up one vertebrae at a time. And bouncing again. Bouncing is going to be our refrain through the day. We're learning how to release any tension in our arms, release any tension in our lower dantian in our belly. Just see if you can feel your belly bouncing. It's safe here to soften your belly. don't have to hold anything in. Oh. Let's take a moment to warm our hands up and really just communicate. Let's get them nice and warm. And just place your hands when they're nice and warm on your dantian. Just communicate for a moment with your awareness and a breath in your belly that it's safe to be soft. Let me sound out that expresses the feeling of this connection in this moment. So many of us have spent so much of our lives with a hard belly, just like waiting for the next blow. Bouncing a little more, jiggling the glutes. We're learning how to awaken the full intelligence and awareness within our pelvic region, our base. Many of us have held a lot of tension also in our perineum and our anus. We're learning how to intentionally squeeze and release this area of our body. And as we bounce, we're learning how to let the involuntary start to happen. You start by bouncing with the mind, but if you let yourself, you'll find a depth of being, with knees bent that will kind of start an automatic involuntary bounce that you can't force, but you can give permission to continue and take over. So you're looking for that kind of weird syncopated bounce that it's like you're falling through a few stories of a building sometimes. And you can alternate with the jiggling of the glutes and the agitating of the sacrum. It's like you have a beaker of sacred elixir vitae, the elixir of life in your sacrum. It's there. And you just agitate it. You're just shaking it up. That's part of the transmutational process. Shake your legs and wiggle your thighs. As you jiggle, you can let that jiggle sort of work its way up through your spine. I think so often it just wants to whip up through your spine. This is a safe place for your voice to release. You can lean forward a little and get that. Feel the gravity in your arms. Lean back a little. And take a moment to let that shaking naturally come to rest. Knees bent, pelvis slightly tucked forward, spine elongated, crown being drawn upward toward the heavens by a gossamer thread, that gossamer force of levity that's always equally present to gravity. Woji, empty stand. We're gonna do a qigong here. It's a swimming qigong. We lift our hands up, and we take the back hand and push through as we pull the front hand through. And our front hand ends up facing down. Our back hand is facing up. And then, again, we push the back hand through as we pull the front hand through, bending our knees, and then we stand back up a little bit at the end. And You want to look from side to side so you see both your hands in your peripheral vision. So you never lose sight of both of your hands as you're looking and just splattering your vision. Inhale, bring the hand back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, intercostal muscles engaged, lats engaged. Imagine you're in a narrow hallway. You don't want to touch the walls. And really use the waist. You see my pelvis stays facing forward. But my belly button is twisting around with the waist. My arms never actually gain full extension. I never extend them fully. I round the edges now. At your own pace, at your own breath. Qigong, we're not so much doing something as just opening the sails of our soul to catch the winds of the qi that's already flowing. When the pulling hand reaches your hips, you inhale. Exhale. We're going to continue this motion, but we're going to take a little bit of a wider stance. So we're going to be moving back and forth. So let's all start out at our right, full extension. I'll mirror you guys. So you can start on your right leg in full extension. And as we move through, come through the middle. Come through the middle. Go low. Straighten that back leg. And again, keeping your hands always in your peripheral vision. That's intentional. Smooth. What if there were no corners on your movement? Everything was round. If your legs aren't burning yet, you should get a little deeper in your stance. This is meant to be challenging your root. It's meant to be strengthening your core. Twisting at the waist. Opening the pelvis. The big stretch, big straight back leg. Warrior pose. Just another 30 seconds here. Learning how to stay slow when things get intense. Learning how to stay with the sensation. Not back away from intense sensation when we know what we're doing is ono. Aligned. Good, and right from here, straighten both legs. Oh. Let yourself lower down. Whoa. Straighten the legs. Stretch the hamstrings a bit. Oh. You can walk the feet in a couple steps if you're really wide. Oh. clasping your elbows and letting your knees bend a bit. Just letting your spine dangle, giving yourself a little moment of traction. Shake it out a little. Coming up when you're ready, slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Bringing the feet back to shoulder width. Shaking it out. Relieving that. Taking this another moment to this. Take a moment to just clean ourselves off a little bit, release a little more, take the hands out a little bit. Store a lot of tension in our hands. We don't notice because it's been there for so long. Find all the angles. Lift them up. We're going to come up on the balls of our feet and drop. Rounded. Good. Two more. Good. And just rest it with deeply. Spine elongated. Feeling the golden thread. The crown lengthening you. Drawing a little space in between every vertebrae. Even as your feet are rooted into the Aina. Bring our hands to our hips. We start to work in that middle ground between heaven and earth, between Leva and Aina. And space in the middle where we all exist and play. Starting to circle the hips. Really feeling, giving permission to what feels yummy. Can you let yourself enjoy the self-pleasure practice of moving your own hips in a way that pleases you? If you continue to rock your hips, if you touch your own body in a way that's pleasurable to you. Keeping the knees bent so we're really staying rooted and grounded in our primal essence. We are these creatures. We are divine creatures. We've literally been, the earth was impregnated by the light of the sun. We were born, we are being born still in this beautiful union. So just circling the hips and involving yourself in pleasure, sensuality. You can pump the perineum. Every time your hips come forward, just pump your perineum a little bit. Yeah. Circling the other way if you haven't yet. And can you isolate so that your heart remains pretty still in space, but you're really engaging the hips and the waist. And if you do this well and you're really working your edges, you'll start to feel some muscle fatigue on there and these little hip flexors and just the low core.
invite you to start to work this spinal wave now that emanates from the bottom of the body. Oh. 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 The spine is so intelligent. Oh. Oh. Really feeling that, if you want to look at me for a moment, really feeling this wave that comes up from the bottom. Oh. 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 And then it might start to take off and change angles, but it's still that same wave moving through your body. Your spine is 360 degrees of fucking beautiful flexibility, beautiful openness. You can explore that in your movement, but feel that movement emanating from the bottom up. See if you can really play with this sense of moving from the core, from the root to the crown. The movement actually starts in the soles of your feet. And rolls up through your body. Keeping the knees nice and bent. Allowing yourself to continue to strengthen that core, strengthen your connection to the hymen. Move from your core, really allowing your hips, your dantian, your center to guide the movement. Oh. Oh. Good. Beautiful. Oh. Spiral. There are spirals in here. Try a spiral following your tailbone through the spiral. You bring your arms in. It's complementary. Just exploring and moving spinal fluid, shifting in that flow. Oh, you can always come back to the refrain of bouncing when you feel it. Because all of this is bringing up, it's unearthing material, it's opening up our DNA and our cells. Even by contrast, helping us to remember how maybe tight we've walked in our lives, how little we've actually moved from our core in our lives. Shaking out this paradigm of being out there, looking out there for what I'm supposed to be doing or how I'm supposed to be moving. Instead, coming back. So I want to invite us, because we're here, we're going to come back to our center in just a moment. I want to invite you to come out of your center intentionally for a moment. I want to invite you, we're going to move through the room, try to be aware of the slippery spaces, and we're just going to lean. We're going to lean and look around and kind of feel and embody what it's like to kind of just be moved and lean into gravity. And then move. So just, even if it's just in your own space, just lean. Find yourself falling and catch yourself again and again. Find yourself in disequilibrium. Because we tend to want to live in our comfort zone, in that very narrow bandwidth of space where we feel like we have control. It's all an illusion. But it feels that way because we get so small. What happens when you just fall in? Allow yourself to fall. Be really careful. Yeah, super slippery on that corner over there. Good. Good. And as you just let go, you can start to spin, swing, feel. Good. And come back. Wander your way back to your mat. Oh. 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 And I want you to give yourself permission to feel the part of you that is afraid of what other people are thinking of you and how you move your body. Give yourself permission to tap into that collective reservoir of, oh no, what are they going to think about me if I do what feels authentic and natural to me in this moment? And let yourself contract a little bit and feel that hiding. Let your body become a living, moving sculpture of that feeling of needing to hide your truth, needing somehow to not be seen by people. Feel that tension build. You can squeeze your shoulders and clench your jaw. Just to let the tension come forth. Let it take over your whole body in this moment. Clench your glutes. Squeeze your knees together. Clench your gut. Squeeze your jaw. Let the sound come out. On three, we're going to take a big collective breath. Let it out of the shape. We keep going. Big breath. Soften the belly. Soften the perineum. Soften the gut. Soften the shoulders. Roll the shoulders back and let your heart be open a little. Still sit. Tilt the head back. Oh. Cross the hands across the body. Tap the clavicles. I love you. I love you. Thank you. I love you. I accept you. Oh, you're beautiful just as you are. Feel your own love. Feel your own acceptance. Tap bilaterally, hands crossed, tap your throat. Oh, your voice is beautiful. Oh, your truth is beautiful. Oh, keep shaking if you can. Keep that. You can tap your face with your fingertips. Under the crown of the head. Thank you. I love you. Beautiful. And find yourself naturally falling, resting back into the still point, knees bent, pelvis gently tucked, spine long, crown anchored in the feet rooted in the From here, feet a little wider than shoulder width. You're going to leave the arms just dangling. You're going to leave your waist. See how my hips kind of stay forward here? I'm not turning my legs like this. No, I'm isolating my waist and just turning, letting my arms dangle, generating the movement of my extremities from my center. Looking over my shoulder, you might find that you're getting a little chiropractic adjustment. That's great. Keeping the spine long. We're finding our center. Keep the knees bent. People talk about, I want to be more centered. Well, being centered is a very physical phenomenon. It's a very physiological experience. And so most of us haven't spent much time really finding that center in our body, which is where we live. This is just a practice of finding that center. If you notice that your arms are still trying to do something, if your shoulders are still engaged and getting tired, then relax them. Your shoulders are like chow fun noodles right now. Really perfectly cooked chow fun noodles. They're just dangling there, getting spun around by your torso. And you can play with like little slow baby movements, really gentle, easy, slow baby movements, and you can increase the intensity Gravity is always going to bring your arms back down on every motion because you're not holding them up in any way. This is where we start to identify the tension that we live in that's so habitual that it feels like it's not there, but it actually is. And you can let out a sound and throwing that energy. You can shift your weight back and forth. Shift it back and forth so you can find this axis as it moves, keeping your spine erect, but moving. We're so used to generating movement from our extremities. It's very awkward to learn how to generate it from our center at first. Very satisfying. Good.
I'm finding it super fun to ask the question, where am I, as I do this? Because it's like ask that question, like locating your center as you do it. Where am I?
Beautiful. I'm going to give us one more. This is the real center sort of activator here. And I want you to take it at your own pace. We don't have enough room for all of us to be hands out, but when I'm really doing it, I'm hands out. And I'm spending some time just really finding my center, relaxing my hands and arms. Keep spinning, but I can do it with my hands. So just do that. And if you start to really lose your center, come back and breathe into the disorientation. Breathe into the disorientation. So, hands down, to be beyond your mat if you can. And then I'm up on my tippy toes. I don't put my heels down. I'm out on my tippy toes as I do this. Just start to spin, start slow. And then find you could go very slow this whole time. That's totally okay. And you can find your edge in terms of speed, in terms of maintaining the verticality of your spine and your center as you let yourself become the center of complete disorientation. And just play with it and stop every once in a while when you need to. And keep moving through the disorientation if you want to. What does it look like to really flow with the river of your vision? Yeah, with that. Yeah. And if you have only gone one way, let's try going the other way to balance yourself out. You know why the Sufis can do this for hours and hours and hours? You really can find your center in the midst of any disequilibrium. Remember that and own that in this moment. There is no chaos that can overwhelm your center. There is no external circumstance that can take you away from your center. Only you can collaborate with that chaos to move away from your center. We've been trained to do that as an identification, but we're learning that we are sovereign beings. We are learning that my center is mine and mine alone. And so we get to practice holding that center in the midst of disorientation, in the midst of chaos, in the midst of emotional discomfort, in the midst of the threat of violence, in the midst of the threat of ecological collapse. We are learning to stand and dance in our center, remaining fully present. Coming back to that spinal wave, coming back to the flexibility and fluidity of your spine. Coming back to the root. Whoa. Whoa. Let's bring our feet shoulder width. We're going to do a few stretching waters. Just follow along if you haven't done this with me yet. Start in Wu Ji, knees bent. Hands at your sides. We're going to inhale the hands up to the nose. About 6 inches apart, gaze up. Exhale, elbows come down to knees into a squat. Inhale up. Exhale. Hands come out to the sides. Knees start to bend when the hands hit the shoulders. And we're bringing our hands together and gathering water and lifting it up like it's the most precious thing we've ever touched. And releasing it and rolling our hands back, shifting our way back to our heels and playing with the water as it falls. And then our hands, the blades of our hands slide up our thighs. We wrap our arms around, palms facing down, elbows heavy, shoulders relaxed. And then we come down to gather and catch the water. Pinkies come together here. Hands are splayed wide apart. And then we zipper the fingers together as we bring the thumbs to the dantian point just below the navel. Bring the thumbs down, wrap around to the hips, and exhale down. And bounce away. Reorientation. Just follow along. Inhale up. We lift our attention to the heavens. We invite the heavenly mana down into the earth. Exhale, elbows to knees. And delight the earth responds, lifting her mana up to the heavens. And the chi, the heavenly energies rain down. You can twinkle the fingers a little. We gather the chi from the rivers that are flowing. Oh, we release it and let go and play with it, rolling our hands back and down, sliding the blades of our hands up our knees, circling around, palms down, holding, coming down, bending the knees to gather the chi. Pinkies come together, zippering the hands, the fingers to the dantian point below the navel, thumbs to the navel, sliding down. Down, and exhaling. Orienting ourselves on the compass points, heaven, earth, and humanity. And again, we'll do it together in silence. Remember, this is easy. No force. You're literally just opening the sails of your body to the currents of chi that are already flowing. Exhale. Open up the body a little bit, practice some balance. We're just opening the hip flexors, really exploring the range of our movement. Really try to keep the foot up and open. We're strengthening as well as balancing here. So try not to set the foot down unless you absolutely have to. We're just circling, strengthening, exploring, opening. Have your hands in whatever way they need to be for your balance. Opening out. The other foot. Marveling at all of the musculature, the core musculature involved. How elegantly, how fully, how big you allow the movement to be. Good. Coming back to the other side, inwards. Shifting to the other side, inward. Finding your range, finding your limit, pushing your own edges. Nobody can do that but you. Nobody knows where they are. You actually don't know where they are. Good. And then just playing with balance, shifting from one foot to the other, exploring how you can move on one foot, how you can find the balance within the body, how you can find something new. Can you explore and find something totally new? Can you do something that you've never done before? I promise you we're going to do a lot of that before this is done. Before we've accomplished what we're here to do on this planet, there's going to be a lot of impossible things, a lot of never done befores. This is a little micro playground of exploring what could be new. Can you let it be weird? Oh. Coming back, feet down, bouncing through, integrating that exploration. Okay. While we're on our feet, I want to show you one more. I want you to take this slow, but watch me first. We're going to come down here. We're going to extend our elbows and fold our elbows gently. We're going to turn, just walk. We're going to turn and lift all the way through, bringing this elbow down toward the knee. And it's naturally going to want to turn. Just fine. Do it nice and slow at first. And then eventually you get into a rhythm where it's totally effortless. Let yourself kind of bounce back on your heels if you need to. Find that balance point. Just play with that movement. Find your own speed, pace, and range within that movement. I keep my legs locked for this though. Back and forth a little down low, and then carry all the way through. You find that place where you barely give any effort into it. Mostly just a swing. The more you surrender into the swing, the less effort you need for the way up. Trying in both directions. Whoa. Relax the center. We're going to come down on all fours. This is everybody's favorite.
Of course.
I want you to feel into your inner animal. Feel into the millions of years that our DNA spent on all fours. Feel into the intelligence, the proximity to the earth. Use your sense of smell, sniff. Stay heavy. Stay relaxed in the shoulders. Elbows bent. Now bring your knees up try to keep your shins parallel to the floor for the rest of this exercise. We're going to walk through this space like a fluffy animal. Oh, take as big a lap as you can around the whole room while keeping your shins parallel to the floor. And let the sound of your experience come through. Nobody puts their knees down till everybody puts their knees down. Stay with it. Oh, yeah. Feel the blood. Express that. All the way around the room and back to your original spot. Don't put your knees down until everybody's back home. Nobody's home until we're all home. We've already done it, so we're all free. Oh. Keep those knees parallel, shins parallel. Keep those knees down low. Yeah. Yeah. Feel it. Express it. In your pain. Keep those shins parallel. Coming to child's pose. You may discover that your spinal wave and your shakes don't go away just because you're horizontal. Just trust your body and listen to what it wants in this child's pose. We're not doing yoga. We're being done by an experience. So let it have you.
And undone.
Yes. Yeah. Oh. Good. Up on all fours. Ready. Yeah. Spreading the knees apart. Oh, as far as they'll go. And just opening. Finding your own movement and range in here. Fuck. It like hurts and turns me on all at the same time. Just really, just give yourself permission to fuck yourself. Fuck the earth. Making it hurt so good. Beautiful. Noticing the places where there's a little shame hiding and letting that come out. That's so safe here. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Oh, I love you. Good. And bringing the knees about 2 fists width apart to 1 fist width apart, wherever you're comfortable. Hands below the shoulders or a little in front of the shoulders. And we're just going to start a little rotation of the hips here. Starting with a little rotation. Oh, this pelvis, this beautiful, magical, sensual center of our body. How you have been denied and deprived. How you have been shut down. How I have carried so much shame around you, so much tension, so much fear of being seen in my pleasure, of being known for my desire, of being witnessed in my most courageous creativity. Oh, you can expand that circle until your hips are rolling all the way to the floor. both directions. Oh. Let the sound of your experience come pouring out of you. Oh. 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 Moving back around the other way. Oh, really not skipping over the parts that hurt, but letting yourself enter courageously and gently into the most constricted area. Oh. Stay with a spot that hurts the most and just feel what's there. Oh, these are your ancestors inside of you, the ones who came before you. Say hello, make some space. And if you feel numb, accept that and let that be enough. There's nothing wrong with not feeling anything. It's a feeling in itself. Let that numbness pervade your awareness. Don't skip over it. Don't shame it. Don't push past it. Be with it. Coming back to child's pose when you're ready, and only when you are ready. Partner up for a moment, Gordon, if you're willing. We're going to step with our right foot toward each other. We're going to have our hand up, backs of our arms to each other. And I'm going to take the lead first. I'm just going to make this circle in the air. Gordon is just going to stay stuck to me. He's going to have the pressure of like a balloon, like I'm pushing a balloon through the air. But if I stop, he's with me. He's not just there in front of me doing the same movement. He's listening. He's attuned. And whenever Gordon wants to take over the lead, he's simply going to change the direction of our circling. And I'm now in the follow position. So go ahead and find a partner and start with this very simple practice. Staying in contact, staying sticky, listening, and then taking over when you are ready. Whatever pace. As you lead, you can lead glacially slow. You can speed things up a bit. Keeping the knees bent, really staying rooted. Show you a trick. Everybody look here for a moment. When you want to switch hands, you take your free hand and slide it up underneath your armpit, and slide it down the arm, and then you can switch feet. You've got the other hand. And now when I'm taking the lead, I can also advance. I can also step toward Gordon, and he's going to just back up in the direction that I'm moving him. Space in this way. Just listening and taking over lead whenever you're ready. Now, bye. You can find somebody else to play with. See if you can do it as you're playing. Learning how to become sensitive. Learning how to steward our exquisite power with a profound sensitivity to what's happening around us. Playing with different partners, feel different energy. How subtle a signal can you give? You would like to change it. Close your eyes and just feel. Again, when you generate this circle from your center, you use your waist the whole time so that the only thing that really ever gets stored is your core muscle. Taking the next 30 seconds to bring this partnership to a close. Whatever way it feels mutually. And keeping that same intent as you make your way back to your space, knees bent, sort of feeling the current, seeing if you can weave your way through the currents of chi that are here in the room. We're gonna complete with a transmission from the gene keys and just free movement. You can move on your own. You can
felt the soft touch of
connect
grace
with other people in the room.
the moments that lift us up when we fall.